On this podcast, you'll find interviews with high-performing, successful individuals in life sciences. On a weekly basis, we cover their proven methods, principles, strategies, and mindsets to implement new technologies that scale to meet the needs of people in our world.
Welcome to Life Science Success Podcast. My name is Don. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm a consultant in life sciences, and I help companies reduce complexity and increase performance. Today, I'm joined by Shobha Parthasarathi. Welcome, Shobha.
Thank you, Don. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So, first of all, I think, maybe we should just start with a little bit about you. So tell me, what is it that you do, and what is your background?
Sure, happy to. So I've been in the industry for about 20 plus years. Started out initially as a scientist at Millennium Pharmaceuticals in the 90s in R&D. And over the years, I've done business development, strategic alliances and partnerships. And for the last 10 plus years in early stage investing. I worked at the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, worked for the Huntington Project for Drug Discovery and Development out of Cleveland, Ohio. And currently, I'm an advisor at Xontogeny, which is a virtual accelerator based in Boston, associated with a venture fund. And we make seed and Series A investments.
Oh, very good. Yeah. And so I guess, let's explore a little bit more about, what is it that you do for Xontogeny?
Sure. So, as basically the person who runs their external innovation and sort of the external facing person for the company, I engage with the entire ecosystem globally. It's a huge thing, right?
Wow. Yeah.
But it's very cool too, because on one end, in terms of the spectrum of this ecosystem, you've got the academic institutions, the research institutions, the PIs. I engage with them one-on-one, trying to understand their research to see where they are with regard to either forming a company, or if they've already just formed a company or they're looking for feedback. Engage with all the tech transfer offices because they may have technologies that might be of interest to us. I interact with all the disease foundations because obviously, they have deep pockets, but they also know the science, they're mission aligned, and we can leverage our dollars with theirs. And then, of course, every flavor of investor you can imagine, whether it's high net worth individuals, family offices, VCs, corporate VCs. And at the very far end of the spectrum, you've got your multinational global strategic partners. So every day for me, every meeting is different, but I'm engaging with somebody in this ecosystem to make things happen for Xontogeny and the PXP fund.
And so how do you stay, I find it hard enough trying to stay current with the things that are happening in life sciences. You also have to balance this funding side as well. How do you do that?
So I'm out there trying to find technologies that would be worthy of investments, right? So I'm exposed to a lot,
Right.
So we are very agnostic. So therapeutics, diagnostics, devices, it could be even digital health. We are completely agnostic to indication, modality, and geography. So you can imagine, it's a crazy mad environment, but it's also extremely exciting because you're sort of exposed to whatever is happening in terms of technologies across the globe. And it's actually a privilege to meet all these people that are doing these cool things. So yes, it's hard balancing it, but it's also super exciting.
Yeah. And then in terms of like your advisory role, so if I were a startup, I guess, and I were working with Xontogeny, would I directly interact with you?
Sure, absolutely. I find these at different places. So I'm here today at Bayou on the Bayou here in New Orleans. So yes, the partnering meetings, I need someone and talk to me. We think, if I listen to them and I feel like there's a possibility this is a good fit for us, then yes, they would interact with me. And then I would look at their deck, see, whether they need to make anything more appropriate to fit us or, they'd add or delete or whatever. Pass it on to the diligence team at Xontogeny, and then it kind of goes
Very good.
from there. It takes a life of its own from there.
So you help to coach them a little bit then as well. You must, because a lot of the decks that I see that are startup, initial funding decks. Oftentimes they're great at telling the scientific story. They're not good at telling the story. Right. So it's
True. So it depends, right? So some of the people that we meet are very experienced and it's not a problem. But, at the end of the day, I think, the stage at which we play in, which is very early, and we're looking at seed, the first money in, um, the way I look at it, scientists are doing what they do best, which is the discoveries, right? It is really unfair to expect them to think like a product developer. I mean, it takes a village to bring a product to market, right? And so our job is to make sure that not only do they make their discoveries, and then we provide a whole team around them that can guide them so that they end up making a product. So a lot of it is advising. A lot. I mean, that's a big part of what we do. We are a virtual accelerator.
Right.
The purpose is to drive that, right? So we are big on giving guidance, direction, and advice to all of these startups, not just a passive investor now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm connected with I'm from Denver, right? So I'm connected with a local, in-person accelerator, as well. And so I do a lot of this review and advising on their strategic decks. And a lot of times, I'll click that button to open up the deck with kind of a big, deep breath first, is this going to be a good one or one that's going to need a lot of help? And then oftentimes, it's, comes down to, having conversations about, okay, so how do we tell the story without losing the detail, kind of that combination. But I
We do that.
certainly don't do what you do.
Well, coaching happens at many different levels. Not only just for scientific founders, researchers, startup companies. We also run special programs. We are very actively involved with women faculty. So, Equalize is a program that focuses on women faculty developing startups. So, both Chris Garvidian, the CEO of Xontogeny, and I, we are actively engaged with that. So we do it at so many different levels, but it's a very gratifying part of our jobs.
Yeah, very good. And in terms of what do you hope to accomplish in terms of the meetings here at Bio in the Bayou?
Get exposed to all the universities that we normally don't get to see. So our job, and I think both Chris and I, we take this very seriously, is good science happens everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's access to funding and access to management that results in whether something actually goes all the way to become a product or not. So our goal is, to bring Boston money, to bring Boston management to places that don't have it. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm here.
Really good.
Thank you for listening to Life Science Success. For complete details about this podcast, including show notes, how to get in touch with guests, and more episodes, please visit www.lifesciencesuccess.com. If there's someone you'd like for us to invite to the show as a guest, please let me know by sending me a message at the podcast website. Please click subscribe on your favorite podcast app, share the podcast, or tell a friend about it. And last but not least, rate the podcast. Thank you again.